been one of those thinking days. I don't know about you, but I want to know. I have pressing questions about aliens and UFOs. Are they really more intelligent than I am, or can ever hope to be? Are they crawling around on all fours on their home planet as in the clip just now? And is bipedality truly an important evolutionary feature? My anxiety levels are up. The recent UFO hearings are done, and there is promise of more. It's exactly like we predicted and feared. So alas, the question of are we alone remains front and center. It's the most haunting question of our time, but until aliens introduce themselves, we will never know, let alone their look and form. In the meantime, we have put together a list of 10 mysteries regarding aliens and UFOs that have and will continue to scrape away at our bones. They are based on how aliens might look and behave, what they're made of, are they here to save the planet, why don't more of us see UFOs, the ships they travel the great galactic divide in, and their mythical superintelligence. All that said, it's time to get a few things off my chest.
Number 1. What does a real alien look like? May. It's a huge collective sigh from all Earthlings. I can hear it already. Finally the Pentagon comes clean and confirms alien life. It's not the type we are so intrigued about though, it's microbial. Microbial? Can't be. It's not the form we are interested in. Don't you have anything with physical attributes like 2 hands, 2 feet, things like that? Did we have to shout? Our eternal curiosity with aliens is if they are like us, and exactly what they look like. In the sci-fi clip just now, a spaceship is clearly on an intergalactic journey. Right? A hand goes up, reaches for the warp speed mode, and the spaceship is off to the far reaches of the universe. What adds to the intrigue of that clip is the idea it's an alien ship with an alien pilot, but we're kept in suspense having not seen the face of the hand that put the ship in warp mode. What would the alien have looked like would be the big question. Ever since we grappled with the question, are we alone, we also grappled with who might be out there and what they may look like. Here is another clip. Much more revealing this time around. It's an alien in the cockpit of its intergalactic ship. Big head relatively, spindly limbs, round or almond-shaped eyes, small lips, and small nose. Can you more relate to this alien as some of us are likely to do and dismiss out of hand other images we typically see of aliens depicted as humans or humanoid characters, dressed in protective space suits? And what of the gestures? They seem very human-like. Are these just influenced by our own surroundings and experience or based on well-thought-out scenarios? Either way, altogether points to the challenges in answering the questions of what aliens are like, that is, how they look physically and how they behave. In all practicality, we know it's a stretch that an alien may have any of the forms we have touched on, but we can only be guided by the limitations of our own mind. It's what we have read and seen in the movies that continues to dictate how aliens may look, and given the innumerable conditions that may exist in space in the far reaches of galaxies, a broad consensus remains elusive. Number 2. What are aliens made of? Another question that bugs my mind is, what are aliens made of? It is known that life on Earth is carbon-based. In fact, we do know that oxygen, carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, calcium, and phosphorus make up about 99% of body mass. These are fairly common elements on Earth, so a body's composition may be no surprise. What about on an alien planet though, where these elements may not be so common? In general terms, since we can confirm that humans are based on the carbon compound, does it mean that an alien would have the same base, or are they made up of other considered compounds like silicon, as some scientists suggest is a probability? It's easy to miss or misrepresent that carbon is widely distributed on Earth and forms the most compounds. It's no surprise it's the basis of all life forms on the planet. If we appreciate the foregoing, then we can fully appreciate a situation on another planet where carbon is not so widely distributed but life still develops. As for silicon though, scientists believe that because of its chemistry, that any developed life would be simple and primitive. Some crystal-like structures, okay. And if that be so, aliens visiting Earth could not be simple and primitive, they are flesh and blood and made of carbon like we are. Sounds like rationale reasoning, right? Just the same, you still want to know to be sure. Number 3. Are people really too busy to notice and report UFOs? Every day there are thousands of reported sightings. It may seem a lot, but in the context of developed countries, large cities, and their typical population densities, it's not overwhelming. You then ask how this could be possible. Why does it always seem it's just a handful of people who are seeing UFOs? The situation only stokes the belief that sightings are only being reported by only certain folks, like by people who may not altogether be here. We have come up with a scenario though. See the clip on screen. It's our own depiction of what it seems must be happening with reported UFO appearances. Note, we did say our own depiction. It shows a busy New York street and a spaceship in the image of what we're familiar with from books and movies floating by. In the clip that follows, the spaceship hovers and the next one, it zips by. Reported sighting, a few hundred. How could this be possible? It gives me anxiety just thinking about it. Okay, so we made up the scenario in numbers and poked a little fun at people who are reporting UFO sightings, but in the same breath accept the reality. People are way too busy to notice strange objects in the sky. Our rationale: on any given day, life happens, people are busy going about their business and maybe won't notice or be bothered unless it's right in their faces. I definitely think we have answered that one. Number 4, why are reported sightings not of large alien spaceships and motherships? Once we have crossed the far-fetched idea, some may call it, of assuming aliens are out there, then the question becomes, how are they traversing the great galactic divide to get here? Do aliens all arrive on Earth, or in our solar system for that matter, in massive spaceships? We do have a vision of aliens arriving on Earth in their incredible ships, but it may be that some aliens are already here. Most reported sightings are of strange craft or lights. The crafts typically being round, saucer, cigar, or triangle in shape. One exception was the object reported in the Phoenix Lights sighting was supposedly multiple football fields long. Still intriguing, but what of the large ships we see in artist renditions and in the movies? The simple answer may be that they are just figments of our imagination. Bear in mind too, our concept of spaceships and intergalactic vehicles are not based on anything anyone has seen in fact, but informed and guided by our own experiences and projection of reality here on Earth. The reported UFO shapes and the less than impressive sized vehicles, for the most part, barring the sightings that have earthly explanations, maybe is all there is. Number 5, no way does a square in a sphere UFO sound aerodynamically efficient to me. The question then becomes, why are aliens building them? Recently, there has been much publicity regarding the whole question of UFOs. A centerpiece of the discussion was an experience by ex-Navy pilot Ryan Graves, also a recent UFO hearing witness. Lieutenant Graves, former Navy pilot, reports that over a good few years he and his men came in contact with a strange craft, a gray dark square within a translucent sphere. A square in a sphere though? Doesn't sound like the intriguing craft you would expect for a sighting, but Ryan Graves is so sober, I take him at his every word. In fact, he has pointed out that the craft or crafts were really ever seen with the naked eye and were only picked up on radar after a major upgrade in those systems. The details of the craft have only been confirmed by a few, and in spite of its odd characteristics, it apparently travels at incredible speeds whenever it needed to. We will leave science to work out the strange mechanics of this object, but suffice it to say, we believe the sphere is not necessarily physical but some kind of cloaking system to shield it from radar. It is also very important to add the concept of gravity machines. In essence, there's one school of thought that suggests that these crafts are engineered to manipulate gravity. This in effect means, shape may not be an important consideration in their design. If in fact they are gravity machines, then they are able to traverse our atmosphere and the galactic divide at will, as they are not bound to the laws of gravity as we know them. Of note, is that the concept of gravity machines is also associated with a name famous in ufology circles. The name is Bob Lazar, a physicist who worked at Los Alamos National Laboratory in New Mexico, where apparently, the focus was on reverse engineering extraterrestrial vehicles. As we often say though, the story of Bob Lazar and his UFO whistle-blowing history is a story deserving of its own video.
So far then, we have covered some real pressing questions about UFOs and aliens, with more to come. Even though we would want to literally kick a few doors down, I do know that we have to just continue the dialogue. It's all we can do, talk. That is, about the burning questions and being accepting of the reality, sadly to say. Governmental and military agents have no motivation to address the topic frontally and truthfully. It's heartening that some earthly brothers and sisters, who are more well-intentioned, are champions of the alien and UFO discourse, but unlikely will have real access to the levers that can push the matter forward anytime soon.
Number 6. Why would someone build a spaceship the shape of a Tic Tac candy? The Tic Tac candy UFO has been mentioned a lot in the news lately. Like Lieutenant Graves, another ex-military pilot, Commander David Fravor reported that in 2004, he and his men came across an object the shape of the common Tic Tac candy off the coast of California. The question, why the shape of a Tic Tac candy? Further, he insisted that the craft was smooth and white all over and yes, shaped just like the common candy. He reports that after tracking and interacting closely with the object for some time, the craft turned its nose up and took off like the bullet out of a gun. Let's admit though, on the surface, compared to the square and a sphere UFO, we can more appreciate the Tic Tac UFO for its aerodynamic efficiency. However, as a UFO with alien pilots and other occupants, the shape just seems odd and inefficient. Our best guess is that it may have been some interplanetary probe, but from and where and by whom? Again though, we may already have our answer. It goes back to the wild anti-gravity machine concept mentioned in the previous clip. Shape and design consideration on far advanced planets may not be an essential ingredient, as gravity poses no danger to the structural integrity of the craft nor to its occupants, and notwithstanding the incredible speeds that are possible with these objects. Number 7. Are aliens here to save the planet? Among thousands of daily reports, there are some who in fact claim that they have come into contact with aliens and have even been abducted. This interaction and communication with aliens seem to have one common theme, and that is that humans are not taking care of the planet Earth. Their visitations, while not direct, are meant to communicate this message and to warn of the potential dangers. We all know that since the late 1800s, industrialization has been at the heart of human civilization with consequences we could not have imagined. One of them has to do with the level of carbon emissions in the atmosphere and the impact over time. The issue is duplicitous. Without carbon dioxide, Earth's natural greenhouse effect would be too weak to keep the average global surface temperature above freezing. But by adding more carbon dioxide, a greenhouse gas, to the atmosphere, the natural greenhouse effect is being supercharged, causing global temperatures to rise. In fact, the record temperatures been recorded around the globe right now can be seen as a direct consequence of the ongoing high levels of carbon being released in the atmosphere over time. 2023 will no doubt be on record as one of the hottest years in modern times. It is this and other harmful actions that many are claiming that aliens have traveled literally light years to be on spot to warn us about. In our own estimation, this seems far-fetched, as given the hazards of intergalactic travel, it is hard to accept that aliens would put their lives at risk to travel all the way to Earth to warn of the potential dangers of harming the planet. That is, of course, with our own limitations of physics and how intergalactic travel may even be possible. Number 8. Are aliens living on Earth in the form of other animal species? It's a frightening prospect, but stop for a moment and think about some of those strange creatures existing in our massive oceans. The sci-fi creature on screen is part biological and mechanical at the same time. It bears a striking resemblance to the octopus, which can be the subject of heavy debate. Some have argued that its relatively high level of intelligence and being able to complete simple puzzles, untie knots, open jars and toddler-proof cases, and being expert escape artists from aquariums, gives it alien-like status. Some researchers offer the possibility that octopuses are the descendants of creatures that arrived on Earth frozen in an icy comet. They put forward that the octopus's large brain and sophisticated nervous system, camera-like eyes, flexible bodies, instantaneous camouflage via the ability to switch color and shape are just a few of the standout characteristics that seem to appear out of nowhere on the evolutionary scene. Okay, from our own view, it does seem the octopus may be able to open a few jars and has a few color and escape tricks, but it's not quite the alien we had in mind. We said as much in our opening clip, but to add, asking the octopus to arrive in a massive spaceship may be a high bar, but we would like an alien who does a trick my 5-year-old can't do. Number 9, are aliens evolving too, and what of its assumed superintelligence? As you may know, the theory of evolution is one of the fundamental keystones of modern biological theory. The theory essentially holds that the various types of plants, animals, and other living things on our planet have their origin in other pre-existing types, and that the distinguishable differences are due to modifications in successive generations. The thoughts were detailed in Charles Darwin's book On the Origin of Species. Darwinism is a theory of biological evolution developed by the English naturalist Charles Darwin, 1809 to 1882, and others. The foundation of the theory is that all species of organisms arise and develop through the natural selection of small, inherited variations that increase the individual's ability to compete, survive, and reproduce. Oddly, I can't say I believe in the theory 100%, but it does give some food for thought. Take for example the clip on screen showing a sci-fi alien creature crawling around, on hands and legs as we know them as humans. In the context of Darwin's theory, it does bring us to the question, are alien life forms all advanced, or are some advanced and others still in the transitional phases of evolution? Up to this point in our history, earthly order equates to universal order. Evolution, it turns out, is a convenient theory for many. Some biologics can claim superiority by saying that they are highly evolved and display a high level of intelligence. This order of things obviously holds good until aliens or the powers that be decide it's time to remove the veil. Until then, if aliens are real, are the ones interfacing with us on Earth the advanced, more intelligent ones, and are the other aliens that are not so well evolved and by classification, be amongst the lower rung of biological development, essentially crawling around on the ground as opposed to being bipedal and upright like their alien brothers and modern humans? And considering many alien civilizations, where would bipedality fit on the evolutionary scale, if at all? And by extension, where would humans fit? It may be a reality many of us are not ready to face. We often ask another very nagging question, are all aliens superintelligent, that is, in the context of being multiples or hundreds of times or thousands of times more intelligent than the average human? If this is the case, it's another frightening predicament for humans, compounded with the realities of the recent development of AI, which is also projected to have superintelligence. What will become of biological humans? Will they be forced out of jobs, ultimately enslaved and overwhelmed by its own superintelligent creation and by aliens visiting Earth from far-flung galaxies across the universe? From our viewpoint, even if it were only the reality of dealing with AI, we will have no choice but to merge with the very machines we created. It's coming, folks. Number 10, are all aliens small in stature? By and large, we think about aliens being diminutive or small in structure, between 4 and 5 feet tall, with spindly limbs, big head, big round or almond-shaped eyes, thin lips and thin nose. One very common type of alien reported and that fits the description are the Greys. The reports generally suggest physical bodies smaller than the human and lacking in external body features you find on a human. Apart from the commonly reported sightings, the height and shape of these beings have over time been reinforced by books and movies. As with our previous arguments on the possibility of abundant alien life, it makes all the sense to keep an open mind. The clip shows an alien sci-fi creature that is quite the opposite from the Greys. The being depicted is much more humanoid, well developed in physical structure, almost like a bodybuilder, much taller and, in essence, a more powerful creature physically. If the universe is teeming with life, why would a form of life like that depicted in the video be far-fetched? The clip aside, don't forget too that on the broader spectrum of ufology, some believe in Nordic aliens who are supposedly humanoid extraterrestrials resembling Nordic Scandinavians from a distant world, the Pleiades. Contactees, if you follow this side of ufology, describe them as being 6 to 7 feet tall with long blonde hair, blue eyes and fair skin. George Adamski is noted with being among the first to claim contact with Nordic aliens in the mid-1950s, and scholars note that the mythology of extraterrestrial visitation from beings with features described as Aryan and being the essence of physical beauty. It really makes one wonder or question the vision we have in our minds of aliens and if all aliens would fit in this mode, or are there aliens who are the complete opposite and closer in stature to the alien we have described. After all, if alien life exists and is abundant as some claim, it's only logical to think that aliens may indeed be as varied in their physical characteristics as they do in their actual numbers.
Okay, that takes us to the end of one of our more important videos on W3W. We were happy to have used AI as a centerpiece tool, but our focus was on real life and real existential questions. Our hope is the video will keep the curiosity and push for disclosure as a priority, even on an individual basis. Maybe, just maybe, someone out there will heed our call, understand our yearning, and finally answer all our questions once and for all.
Hey! Thanks for checking us out. Of course, we would love if you liked the video, that you share it, and also subscribe to the channel. See you soon, and may the force of AI be with you always.